wonderful person. I got to meet her when I got to the UK. And I'm so honored to know you, Pastor Jessica, all the way from here in Florida. I've always been part of this team, and I'm honored to work with you, bringing women and men all over from the world to meet women at the well and share their stories. Thank you very much. You can please take it from here. You might have to unmute yourself. Or I can keep talking, you know me. If you're not ready yet, I can. Please unmute yourself.
Sure. Yeah. I hope everybody can hear me.
Yes.
Yes. We are live now on YouTube. Please, Grace. Huh? I'm talking. Can't you hear me? Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
We hear you.
I'm not sure who can't, but we can hear you.
Okay, 1 second. I think the YouTube voice is still okay. Yes, we are now alive. We are now live on YouTube. I think Jessica Edmond. Grace, could you please get out the link so that people can share? Because I can't do that now.
Yeah.
The link from YouTube so that they can share it on Facebook and especially on our platform so that people can get to join. Or Sister Joyce, just log into. Sorry about that. I just had a sudden call from my minder and she disappointed me. She had an emergency. Unfortunately, the baby is here. I think they're still making myself. I think okay.
God bless you. Life still goes on. Well done for all you do.
Yeah. Okay. So today is another episode of Endless Possibilities Talk Show. I've actually been looking forward to this particular topic because it's a topic that resonates with me, and this is a topic that made me to find my own. During the time I was separated from my husband, so it gave me opportunity to actually discover myself and recover myself as well, and being able to find strength to launch into the deep. And then when we connected back as being married again, I was up and doing. The strength was overwhelming. Then I have known who I am and what I'm going for. And since then, I never looked back. And the product of that particular season of affliction is what is joining us together today. And that is why I love this topic, because it's changed my life. And it's important to know that if it changed my life, it still have the ability to change your own life. If I can put it this way, the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. As we begin to talk about this, it begins to replicate even in your own life, if that's your own need. It also help you to also manage your own home, which is at the verge of breaking, or you don't have peace, or you're being hurt, or one way or the other. I think you learn one or two things to be able to put your own home together, to restructure it, and also have a fulfilled marriage. I want to start with the story of a woman who inspired this particular organization. It's actually a Samaritan woman. This woman is being known as have married 5 husbands, divorced, and the 6th one, she was also cohabiting with somebody who is not married to. That's how desperate she was. And a lot of the time we read the story on the in the aspect of being in different context. But today I want to see it. I want us to see it and explore it on the context of marriage. But I want you to read it also. Jesus, having known that she's been hurt in so many ways, keep coming to her all the way from, I would say, all the way from heaven to come and meet with her. And in this area of marriage, that was where this woman was actually hurt, in the area of relationship. And Jesus came to give her the answer. And that answer is not complicated, it's not difficult. We can find this answer, everyone can find it as we look into deep and they learn from her story. And also looking from him, it is not difficult. And the answer is also free. It's something that all of us can have, no matter where you are, no matter where you've been, no matter where you're coming from, no matter where you're standing right now. And I am also thankful for this organization that we love people who are broken. This organization, we try to seek out those who are rejected. This organization, we stand with those who are hurting, who are abused, who have this stigma from the society that they don't even know who to relate to. That's what this organization stands for. These are the people that is our own best friend, as you all know. And Jesus sought this woman out, went to meet her, and from that point in time, this woman discovered herself, and she never remained the same. Not only her, but everybody around her. In fact, the entire city, if not nation. And Barack Obama said, if you want the nation to know it, teach it to a woman. If a woman knows it, everybody knows it. So that is the power of self-discovery in this context. Yeah. Also, I want us to know that the story shows the compassion of Jesus to all those who are failing, or all those who fall. So, and I don't think nobody in this life is trying to fail in life. Nobody is trying to fail, and most of us are not thinking about it when we are getting married. I really apologize for the interruption. I apologize, please.
Pastor Jessica, I sent you a private message. Have you seen it? All right.
No, that's fine. I'm happy to continue.
Okay.
Just give me a minute. It is important to know that nobody comes to life or goes into marriage or wedding having in mind that I'm going to fail. I think from the, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think from the onset and from the starting, everybody goes there with the mindset that I'm going to succeed, I will make it irrespective of what. But when we go there wanting to lose to another, that people will begin to have a kind of setback. But God knows all this, and he made a provision. If you look at properly, he said, even if you fail 7 times, he will help you up. Until you said, I'm a failure, you are not a failure. So are you here today as a single parent? Are you here as in not even married? Because many people are single, but they've not married at all. Have you been divorced once, twice? God gave you 7 chances. And this woman is hosted 5 chances. On the 6th one, before it gets to 7, God come to meet her all the way from heaven. So that's what I want you to understand. And is whatever he's able to do in the life of one, he's able to do it in the life of another. It's also important that we just have the skill and knowledge of how to succeed in marriage, because God knows how he does it, because he's the initiator of marriage. And so he has the answer to all this. When we fall, it doesn't feel angry. Most of us think that when we fail or when we make mistake in life, especially in the area of marriage, we are rejected, that we don't have a place in destiny. No, it's not true. It's different from God. In most churches, even as a single parent, you are not allowed to lead in any way. But it is not true. God had compassion on us. God brings us close to him. God brings us close to his heart. God is desperate to show us way. But most of the time we don't see it because we're overwhelmed with the problem, with the issue. We are so distracted. We look at and explore what people say than what God says. Even when God is knocking in our heart, around us, close to us, in our dreams, we couldn't see it because we have been blinded with the situation we're in. We couldn't even look around. But in this case, even when the woman saw Jesus, he didn't know. Most of the time, our Messiah has come around us. God has sent destiny helpers around us. God has sent a way out around us. God has sent prophets around us. But because we've been failed over and over, we refuse to recognize. This woman would have done the same thing, if not that the Savior insists and gave her a revelation. But in most cases, in the same shoes, God always sends somebody around us. So one thing you will need to do that we will explore later is how to be sensitive to things around you, to know when God has come for your rescue, just like this woman realized Jesus. And it is if you are struggling, you are failing, you are fearful, you are broken, you are coming out from the broken home, God feels compassion. Irrespective of your situation, God feels the same compassion he felt for this woman. Billy Graham once said from America, God loves us just the way we are, but he loves us too much just to leave us the way we are. He doesn't. He keeps coming back over and over. But the problem is that when he stands at the door and knocks, he doesn't force himself in. It is left for us to be sensitive enough to recognize that. And once that is done, that's it. The breakthrough comes in. Because when he brings the solution, it's simple, it's down to earth, and it's magnetic. The solution that God gives you is automatic. When he gives it to you, all you just need is for you to be sensitive and have faith in it, and being able to make use of that opportunity and come out of the same situation. Now, before we get into finding out how we could be reconnected and find love ever after, because it's possible, very, very possible, I am a living testimony. The first thing we need to understand is what is the purpose of marriage? Because that's where we all miss it. Most of us goes into marriage having another mindset. Most of us goes into marriage just to get back at others. Most of us goes into marriage just because they've been laughing at us. Most of us just go into marriage because our friends has gotten married. We have pressure, family pressure. We have different things going on in our lives. Some of it is just for financial security. Some of them just to get away from our personal responsibility because we refuse to develop ourselves and make use of our singlehood to establish ourselves as women. So that is one thing we're looking at for. And most of us just get into marriage for marrying's sake, thinking that's a way of life. Once you just grow up, you pass 18 years, 20 years, mummies are getting married, the next is for you to get married. Those are the mindset. But marriage have a reason. And one of the first purposes of marriage is to give you privilege to be conformed to the image of God. That's number one. That's why you will not find who you want to marry on the street. No, you have to work on that person. You have to cultivate and make what you want out of the person. Be it a man or a woman. Majority of the times, they say it's a man. But if you too, a woman, have the kind of man you want, it is not that you will see it. Everyone is a product, a raw material you are to work on with fear and trembling, building the person to be what you want him to be. You have to cultivate that person. While you are cultivating that person, you begin to cultivate, you'll be cultivated in the process. You may be looking for a person that is patient, a person that is loving, but the person's impatience may be what will help you to develop your own temperance. You may be looking for somebody because you already know that you are impatient. You now say, oh, opposite attracts. If I can get somebody who is patient, maybe we'll make it. No, but God, he wants to give you somebody who is also impatient to teach you how to be patient. So the first purpose of marriage is the ability, the privilege to be conformed to the image of God, to be like God, to be recreated, to act to somebody the way God will act to you, to be God to somebody else, vice versa. And the highest purpose of marriage for you to be conformed to the image of soul, the happiness will be captured, the patience, the joy, the fulfillment will be captured in fulfillment. It's not on the excitement. When we go into marriage, we look at the excitement makes us to feel that this person is the right person. No, it might be difficult, but once you have a green light from heaven, you go into the marriage, the patience you're looking for will come as in fulfillment, not in excitement. Then it is when you cultivate the person, your partner, your husband, your fiance, your wife, that when you cultivate your spouse, and when you cultivate your spouse, the glory in her spirit begin to emanate. And when you will be fulfilled, then it is in that fulfillment that you will be happy ever after. I used to look for, like, when I was young, my own experience comes in. I used to look for a man that is like tall, dark, handsome. I like handsome men, definitely. I don't mind if you have money or not. I don't really mind, because from childhood, I just have this self-confidence that I'm rich. So I used to look for, you know, and a flawless in speaking and stuff like that. Yes, and when it was time, my goal was not, when I did the first one, and I realized that wasn't my way out. But then I began to read the Bible and now realized that there's somebody made for me. And the God gave me this scenario. God gave me this scenario one day as I was praying. And he said to me, when, you know, like when you go to your workplace during Christmas period, there's always what we call a Christmas gift. Like in my own workplace, in hospital, we used to have this big Christmas gift. Then we buy different gifts and we put under the gift. And there will be what we call Secret Santa. You wrote everybody's name. They wrote a lot of them, but when you go to the basket, you pick whichever name. The name you pick, it's anonymous, and you will buy a gift, write the gift, and put it under the tree. Buy the gift, put it under the tree. It can't be certain amount. So, and under that tree, when anybody that buy your own too will do it, but you don't know who bought which gift. So when you go there, you look for your name. Sometimes you can have Jennifer, you can also have Jessica. It looks alike. If I mistakenly go there, instead of Jessica, I picked Jennifer. And I go home, I eventually open the gift and look at the gift. And I now realize, oh, this is not even me. This is Jennifer, not Jessica. Or I came to work and they said, oh, Jessica, you didn't pick your gift because your gift. I said, no, I've taken one. Then I now realized I eventually picked Jennifer. What am I supposed to do? Whether they see me or not, the right thing for me to do is to bring the Jennifer gift back and take Jessica. Most of the times, many people were being picked by the wrong spouse. God is the tree. The word is the tree. Everyone say, none shall lack her mate. And the Spirit of the Lord will bring them together. And he will allot a portion for them. That is Isaiah 34, if you care to know. Then, when the Spirit of the Lord put these things together, everybody goes there to pick. That's those who wants to get married. If eventually you pick the wrong one, what do you do? Truthfully, irrespective if you have defied, opened it or not, the best thing for you to do is to bring that one back, and the other person will bring their own back, and you will pick the right one. But then you have to be very, very careful. You have experience now, you have the knowledge now, your eyes is open now, you read the name clearly, you'll be very sure, then you pick and you'll be happy ever after. That's exactly the scenario of life. Many people has picked the wrong name under the same tree, even in the house of God, even outside. So don't be surprised when marriage is broke. It's not for you to begin to endure it, get slapped, get this. So if the mistake, some of us, the husband decided to drop us and meet the right person. Some of us, the women drop us and meet the right person. If your partner refuses to work it out with you and eventually drop you or is not satisfied with you, one way or the other, you just fall a victim. Yes, you know that you've been dropped back. What you now look for is the person that got your name. Eve got Adam's name. So if you're a gift, a prudent woman is a gift to the husband. You say is a gift. So if you're a gift, there is somebody you're meant for. Every gift have a name, and every gift must be delivered. Once the gift is paid for, it must be delivered. If it's not delivered, the owner of the gift that sent the gift will call the post office and require, what about this gift? Where is it? And they will look for it. This is the process of the pain we go through when we have broken hope. So what I'm telling you, that all hope is not lost. You might be in the wrong relationship, but if you are being dropped, is the ability to discover, to know the right person is coming, and the expectation shall never be cut off. Now, the second purpose of marriage is to preserve divine heritage. We've talked about the first one, which I tell you is to conform to the image of God and realize that God made you for somebody. And it is possible for the wrong person to pick you with the wrong name. And it's possible for the person to drop you and pick the right one. And then it is also possible for your own right person to come and pick you. So, but if you don't know, when the person is picking you, you'll be bringing the baggages of the past into the future. And a new wine cannot be stored in an old wine skin. It can't taste the same. So the second purpose of marriage is to preserve divine heritage. The reason why you could trace Jesus back to Adam is because God trapped the divine order God trapped his divine order in the blood line. When men hide things, they hide them in the bank, in the safe, and in hidden places. But when God wants to hide things, he hide them or hid them in men. Marriage is one of the ways God hide the dimension of the spirit. So God will prefer you getting married to a godly heritage than marrying maybe a diva, maybe a celebrity, whatever, if you believe in that. Because we are charity, we don't preach that, but that is the way I know to explain it better. So your own God can be, maybe you're Hindu, you're Muslim, or whatever you believe. If you believe in the spiritual being, that is your own God. And that is where God also will preserve your own blessing. He prefers you to go in line with that mindset, because in that line of mindset, God is now preserving and keeping divine heritage. He's preserving the bloodline. God is preserving the children and the lineage. Marriage is God's way of hiding dimensions of his own spirit, of his wisdom, of his powers, of his great future. And only in such great vessels that God has preserved those things, the ordination is being captured. That's one reason for marriage, for God to preserve the divine heritage, just like he did to Adam. And you see in the Bible, from the Old Testament to the New Testament, whenever the book wants to start, it will always refer this as the son of this, these are the son of this, these are the son of this. If there were no marriage, who is who? But because it's married, and this person is married, and this is who they put, you are able to trace me. Okay, let me say back to Adam. Then Adam to God. That's the second purpose of marriage, which in ordinary other words, procreation, to multiply. Yeah, but I call it divine preservation of divine heritage. The third reason for marriage is worship. It is only in marriage you will be able to learn to bend your own will to conform to the other. It is only in marriage you learn to be naked and not ashamed in relationship. Another reason for getting married is not just for excitement. It's not just getting married because others are getting married. It's for you to begin to learn how to be selfless, not just about you, but about one another, because you are building a nation. In marriage, it is not what we desire. It is not what I desire. It's what he or she desire, or what we desire. Especially marriage is for the other person, and you are for it's just like my own will belongs to my husband, my husband's will belongs to me. It is not just about me only, and not, but just like Jesus said, let your will be done. In marriage, let thy will be done. And this will that will be done will be discovered in marriages. It is in marriage we feel, when we say, okay, I give up, let your will be done. It is in marriage we feel the reality of let thy will be done. It is in marriage we feel the way God, not humiliate, that humbles us for us to be able to carry one along in order to make the other one feel. In fact, marriage is being like God to us. Whatever God is to you, your relationship with God, God wants to really replicate it for people to feel that heavenly relationship one to another. Marriage is the reality of the relationship we have with God. And then number 4, you can learn the mystery of oneness. That's number 4th reason for getting married. You can learn the mystery of oneness. That is the mystery that holds the Godhead together. That is the mystery that holds the God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost. For you to live and become, that is where marriage is. It's all about. For the woman, love is submission. But when it comes to man, love is sacrifice. For we as a church, love is submission. But when it comes to God or Christ, is a sacrifice. He sacrificed himself on the cross that we may live. That we may live. So when it comes to the fulfillment of the love of God, we submit to the will of God. That is what is happening in marriage. We submit to the will of our husband, and he sacrificed everything to have us. A thing the woman has, whatever a woman has, she relinquishes it, and it looks as if she's vulnerable. And everything that the man has, he comments on and they lavish them on the woman. At the end of the day, no one has anything in marriage. It's just empty for you to produce. It's also the divinity, where divinity, the story or the ministry of divinity is being manifested in homes. You step into a family, it feels like heaven on earth because God is in that marriage. When we were small, we used to sing a song, especially every morning or every evening when we want to do evening prayer. When Jesus in the family, happy, happy, oh, happy, happy, oh, happy, happy, oh. When Jesus in the family, happy, happy, oh, happy, happy, oh. Yes. So that is what it means. That is what being fulfilled, being tasteful, being loyal, because we can't give what we don't have. If we want to give God, we must have God, our source. So these are the things we learn from here to be able to have a beautiful home. One thing is for you to find love again, fine. But if you don't still know the purpose of why you are there, like the woman at the well, you will still go back again to square one. If you still have the same mindset, you will still go back again to square one. In marriages, there is something God wants to achieve in a deeper than our excitement. Through our excitement, though excitement is marriage, is needed, is part of it all. But to God, it's much more than just physical excitement. Others, we shouldn't have gotten emotions. Love compelled God. Love is to compel man, compel you to. And with that strength of love and the insistence to push love, you begin to abide and stay and they accommodate, accept, and they recognize the differences between you and your spouse. That's what we are talking about here. So the idea behind creation, which is marriage, is 24 elders told us, is to please God. The idea behind every marriage is to please God, irrespective of how we have termed it, changed it, but the idea behind God is faithful. The idea
Go ahead. It has color to it. Go ahead.
Is to please God, and God is faithful. In our search for marriage to be accurate, that is why I run than just this 4. I have it up to like 15, but I just pick 4 for now. For an idea for us to have a fulfilled home, not to still make the same mistake we've made before. It is important we go to the background. And it's also important I go through John chapter 4, because this is the woman that inspired woman at the well. This is the name we answer. Is this Samaritan woman? This woman that Jesus met at the well, who eventually carried salvation to his people and saved the entire nation. And they become alive. And when she discovered herself, her nation did not remain the same. Most of us have discovered ourselves, but yet even our neighbor do not even know how opportunities we may have in the council, we may have in workplace, we may have not just only women at the work. We can't even bring a flyer and give a hurting person, say, go to this place, that this thing is going, and we claim to be whatever we are, not just only Christians. We claim to be good, we claim to be kind, we claim to have empathy, we claim to love. And yet, things like this will be going on. You see people talking that you know that this is not acceptable. You can't even give them the opportunity you have to learn, because education is the best, the greatest thing you can give to somebody else. Quickly, and then to understand the law that governs the creation and the civilization of God through marriage. Therefore, I just bring down these 3 things as the purpose of marriage. The will of the Father. 1, marriage is the wisdom of the Father. 2, and the marriage is the purpose of the Father. So in that introduction, this is the reason why marriage was made. One person must meet the other person. There's one person you must not meet after you have divorced and you're looking for marriage. You're looking for marriage again. And that person you must not. The person you must not meet is the person that you're supposed to have become. So this is opportunity now for you to learn as much as you learn, as much as you can. Your wilderness period, which is now, is the learning period. I am proud to say, in the 4 years of separating from my husband, that I had to be training the children alone. Even though we were talking, we were doing things together and stuff like that. But that period, I developed myself. In fact, from the first day I was pregnant till the day I gave birth, I was driving church bus. I'm so proud to say it because our church members are here. I drove church bus, not just church bus, that I used my own car first. The first Winners Chapel here, the first car, the first transport they used in our branch was my car. I was the first person because I needed to pass my driving test. I made a vow to God. I said, God, the reason why I'm looking for this, to pass this driving test, is that when I pass this driving test, I'll be using it to carry people, especially when it's raining, to church. Lo and behold, as God may have it. The reason why I'm saying this is because I'm from Christian background. You may have your own background as a Muslim, as an Hindu, and all these backgrounds are accepted. But because I'm Christian background, that's why I keep calling God or Jesus. So in case you don't resonate with my religion, it can also be your own religion. So permit me to use this because it's just my own personal life experience. So I cannot maneuver it. I can't change it. That's the way it is. So from that time, I passed my driving test. Eventually, the next month, I got pregnant with anointed. But because I made that vow, I had a Jeep, Range Rover Jeep. If you ask all our church members, I used to go to home with the pregnancy for 9 months. I'll pick people and go to church. I did it so much that now the church resolved to buy me a church bus and parked it in my house. I was still a single parent. I don't have, but I was a single parent expectant. So I did not become a liability. So if we are finding love, or that because you divorce or you separated does not make you a miserable woman. does not make you don't have to be an asset. You don't begin to be a liability. That people see you, everybody will begin to, Mama, what is it? What is it? So that everybody will begin to see you like, what is wrong with you? That people will begin to run away from you. Nobody helped me. I'm not saying that I didn't require any help because I was full of strength because of what I've come to realize. I never become a liability. So, and even when I gave birth, I keep telling myself, I have to go to church. I will go from work. I will go to Minda, pick my son. From Minda with the church bus, I will take my son, enter the church bus. I will put him in front with his buggy or whatever, car seat, and we will drive the whole time. I'll be picking people and dropping. From work, many people are here, this goes to the same church with me. So it's not like I'm making it up. So from work, night walk, I work in hospital at night. From work, I change from work. I used to wear just a trouser and a shirt. So I changed from work. I pick my son from Minda. I put him in the church bus and we drove down to the buses where I used to pick people to church. So from work, I will not get home till about 4. When church finish about 1. So I'll be dropping people. By the time I get home 4, I just have like 2-3 hours to rest because I'm still going back to night work. And this I did for the period of 4 years. Another thing I did was in that same period, I began to write book. When my son grew, I didn't look at anything. I authored a book in the second year. The first year, my son's second year birthday was also my book launch. And that took me to that level of opening doors. Churches began to invite me to minister on the Father's Day, to minister on Children's Day, to minister on Youth Convention. Different churches just began to invite me just because I authored a book. As a single parent, I didn't have time. But I improved myself so much that I cannot be ignored. I improved myself so much that I cannot be ignored. Do not allow a husband to see you when he lives. That's the reason why I'm telling this story. Don't allow your marriage to see you again the way he leaves you. Add value to yourself. Most of the time we used to talk and gossip and cry and sorrow and the over things, tell the story of our 10 years marriage in a day. Mommy, we use it to tell the story of our marriage in a day can be used to add value to ourselves. In fact, I was still in uni. It was during this time that I discovered Grace's mother. I would go to uni, and funny enough, the uni is so far from where I live now because it was closed then. And because I used to live there, then after that, they won't allow it. So I would drop my son with Grace's mother and go to stay 2 weeks in uni. That's how we become family. I added so much value to myself. I didn't take the woman for granted. Grace would have not been here. I never knew what God had in stock for us together. But if I had misused the opportunity, the privilege, if I've gone there to gossip, if I've gone there to take the woman for granted, if I've gone there to be miserable before her, he wouldn't introduce me to the child. Because she likes me, that is why I keep bringing it to Grace. You come to meet this one, you come to meet this woman. And look at what we are doing together. It's not like we've done, but yes, but at least we've done something. And I look forward to greater days ahead. But just imagine that I mismanaged the relationship because I claim that I'm depressed. I claim that I'm frustrated. I claim that the man left me. You see, majority of the time, we take people for granted, giving excuses of our broken relationship, our heart is broken, this, that. We don't know what God has in stock for us until we step out of the boat. We cannot walk on the water. add value to yourself. Don't let the person you should have been meet you the same spot he left you. Look for ways to add value to yourself. It is not a joke. I was so busy, I never had one day sleepless night. And coupled with fasting and prayer. You may not take it to this far, but whatever you might be able to do, take a step forward and add value to yourself. That is what I'm trying to say. Some of us as a single parent, we talk too much. We talk too much. In fact, I read this analysis some time ago, but I read it as I'm just doing research for whatever this thing I'm doing now. I realized there's this research that says that a woman average word in a day is 250,000. Just in a day, 225 hours, 250 minimum. Minimum. A woman average word 250,000 per day. Then a man's average word per day is 25,000. So being a woman alone is enough prayer points, because a multitude of words, there is no found wanting of lies. But sometimes we talk, we don't even see what to say again. We began to say things that are not there about ourselves. We began to, because we are seeking for people to have compassion over us, people to accept us, people to pity us, pity party companies. That's what we are looking for. We begin to over-exaggerate. When your husband pushes you, you will say, now he hit your head on the floor. When he speaks to you, you say, kick you. And things like this, we begin to, so that people will pity us because we don't see any way out. Instead of us to use it to sit down and look for a way out. This is how to find love. When you are no longer in the same spot. In fact, my husband left me when I wasn't driving. When he came back, I was riding a Jeep. He let me baby, I would say, well, when he came back, I was living in a flat. Not just flat, house. When I was single parent, I had about three people consecutive. None of them bought food. None of them paid rent. None of them buy anything of any sort, from their soap to their anything, toothpaste, toothbrush, head to toe, buy them shoe, buy them clothes. One was my living minder. Another was a boy that was stranded. There's a guy called Brother John. The reason why I mention his name is because this is life. He can listen to it because I'm telling the truth. He called me one day. He said, there is this guy that came from Nigeria. He's stranded because the person that asked him to come is no longer picking call, and he's been outside for 3 days or going to 1 week on the street. I said, what about your own house? I don't think his wife accepted that. I don't, but that's what. Then he now said, please, Jessica, help us. I brought this boy in.
I don't know if she's frozen.
Yes, she's frozen.
Yes, she's frozen. Okay. So I think with time she'll realize that she's frozen. So wow, that's a powerful testimony, and I mean, I'm very grateful for who she is, and even look at the baby, like trying to take her attention, and she is like, we are really not stopping this just because the baby is fuzzing. And it also teaches me that everybody is very important. Look, her child minder didn't make it, and now the baby is like, I want my mommy. Everybody is important. So I can see that Ambassador Obinna put a question on the platform. So as Pastor Jessica is sorting out her network, Dr. Eno, if you can address it for us, please. So Ambassador said, question 1, can someone be a good Christian yet not a good spouse? And then 2, since God hates divorce, what will a Christian in a wrong marriage do to be fulfilled? So number 1, can someone be a good Christian yet not a good spouse? Dr. Eno.
Yes. Whether you're a Christian or non-Christian, number 1, we are humans. And we are not perfect. Forgive me for where I'm heading to right now. When I see some Catholic priests abusing kids, this is something you would never have imagined in the church.
Hello?
Yep.
I'm in. Sorry about that. I don't really know what happened. I don't know what happened with the computer. It just go blank. Anyway, so okay, I was thinking that yes, as a single parent, can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can't see you though.
Yeah, because
Is it intentional?
yeah, what I'm using, it can't stand up.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
All
even though it's yes.
Okay.
I'm on camera, but I couldn't. It's under anyway, so it couldn't picture my face unless I lift my hands or something. But I can't stand up like. So what I was trying to say is that yeah. So he called me, but what I'm saying as a single parent, then I still have my son. I still have this boy, and they live in Minda, and I was paying the living Minda. I worked 2-3 jobs at the time, and this guy stayed until he got his own place. But one thing stands, immediately this boy was leaving, my marriage set up, and we were doing wedding within the next 3, 4, 5 months. So what I'm trying to say here is that be nice to people, be kind to people, give an open doors for you, help people to realize their dream, be compassionate. Don't say because some of you, because your husband left you, your first one that looks like your husband has turned to an enemy. You keep beating the children, you keep slapping them, you keep abusing them, you keep talking to them anyhow. How can you prosper? Because children are spirits. There's a way you even treat your children. It's not like you are being wicked, but you're leaving the frustration on them. Because you tend to remember their father and you feel they are a stumbling block for you to move forward. You see them now as a problem. You don't see them as a blessing. You are so miserable that you couldn't even stand their look. You can't even cook. But when you add value to yourself, treat people around you fairly, be nice to yourself, be focused and serve humanity. Of course, along the way, as you show yourself to the priest, you get clean again. And I want to use this opportunity to thank everybody and apologize unreservedly. Things that happened today is just beyond my control. But it happened the day of all day. But I can't let anything stop me. It is true that is on record. But for the future of my children, to see how far I come, that on YouTube, they will see their faces and what they were doing when I was living the purpose. So if I can't go through all this, no woman here is permitted to have any excuse. Them themselves, when they grow up, they are not permitted to have any excuse. And what also is that don't stay doing nothing. most of us benefit all that is in our head. Because I was saying is how to get benefit from the government, how to manipulate the system so that we don't work. If you can work part-time, work, school, do it. Don't look for corny ways to living from hand to mouth. And because when you are not doing anything, staying there because government is paying your house rent or giving you peanuts, devil will use your mind as a workshop. That is when you start having unrelated friendship that does not benefit you. You lose focus because your relationship is either making you or breaking you. Don't stand doing nothing and waiting for God to do everything for you. If you don't read for exam, you will fail even 10 times over, no matter how spiritual you are. You have to study to show yourself approved. You have the ability. That is why God doesn't help you. In court of law, ignorance is not an excuse. Struggle with the way I struggle. You became better one day. You become better. You will become better one day. Let us not use religion as an excuse for mediocrity or inefficiency. If anybody has to be good at what they do, I believe it's Christians and the mothers for that matter, because the destiny of the nation is in our hands. We may not be good now, but as we keep trying in our relationship, I'll keep making ourselves available to be pruned. Of course, change is a constant thing. And the positive change is expected of everyone that yield themselves. There is an excellent spirit in all of us. We need to cultivate it. When you manifest the grace of God, an excellent spirit wherever you are, people cannot ignore you. That is what happened to me. I was so good in developing and adding value to myself. You can't ignore me. In fact, my mistakes turned to miracles. In fact, people were consulting me without paying me a couple because they wanted to know, how am I doing it? How am I able to? But when you make yourself available, there is help for you somewhere. Whenever you are, it is then that you can pray. When God begins to bring these people your way, for the grace of God and favor of God to be activated, so that others can choose you against other people, so that you can be chosen just like Esther did. She didn't only pray, she didn't only fast, she beautified herself. She used a strategy. She also welcomes her enemy, which was Haman. She fed her enemy, which was Haman. All those things you have to learn. You have to be compassionate. You have to be kind as a woman. You have to be nice, but don't be foolish one. You have to strategize yourself. You have to also make yourself look good, as when the person you're expecting sees you, he will be happy to choose you back from under the tree, under the Christmas tree. He said, oh, this is what I've been missing. You have to develop yourself, and when you are telling your stories, like, man, when I tell my stories, it's like unbelievable. And people don't believe it. And this one you hear is even nothing compared to what I've been when I was very, very young back home. I lived a weird life that people call me all manner of, but I know myself, I was so confident. And lastly, don't listen to what other people say. Who speaks and have it done when the Lord has not decreed? Because somebody tell you, get out, who are you? What do you think you are? An ordinary divorcee. Imagine this person that husband rejects. And that is now for the whole year, that is your team. What this person tell you, what Jessica said, what this said, what Grace said. Well, is it because my husband leaving? Who cares? Why don't you say what God says concerning you? Why are you not concerned when God tell you that no shall I commit? Why are you not concerned when God says that the affliction shall not rest the second time? When he said pursue, you will recover all without fail. When he said, I will restore back the day the locust and cankerworm has eaten. When he said, call upon me. When he said, those that look unto the Lord, he will renew their youth like an eagle. Why are you not concerned about all those promises of God and much more? Why are you concerned about what a failure behind you say? Some are just saying it just to root you down because they want to even lavish at you. So I don't know why you should be concerned. That has become your thing. You begin to sing it. You cry to pastor. You cry to woman leader. You cry to deacon and deaconesses. You tell this person, they call you, say, oh, go and apologize. The person apologizes. You are still saying it. Excuse me. Don't listen. You keep going about and speaking about over and over. From there, you start developing the habit of speaking against that person. There, you're putting yourself into unnecessary sin. You talk so much that you feel so empty. You forgot that nobody can speak and have it done if the Lord God has not spoken. You must always remember who you are and whose you are. You must always remember to add value to yourself. A lot of women share the same situation that you are sharing now, but the approach and different decisions, that's what makes the difference. Stop grumbling and gossiping, be forced and be a movement. God bless you and thank you.
Oh, God bless you so much. We really appreciate you and what you stand for. And you're a great example regarding the topic. I mean, even though your example ended up successfully, so there was a divorce and then you guys came back together. It's still relevant to anybody that has divorced totally, and you're saying that they still can get their gift, the right gift. They don't have to look down on themselves. And within the time that people would have crumbled, because that was a lot for a young person to be married and to be divorced. And, you know, our community, people might think that, especially when you're a strong woman, people might think that that's the reason why you got divorced. So people will start talking. People will start talking and making it look like you're the worst that has ever happened. But knowing yourself that, well, I'm strong, I'm a strong woman. And what I tell people is that God does not make a mistake. When he created strong women, he did not make a mistake. So when anybody on here, if you're a strong woman, you just know how to apply that strength that God has given to you. But he did not make a mistake. So I'm sure you went through all that and people talked, and then in your case, your husband came back, you reconciled, you have an awesome family, and you're teaching other people, other women, that that's not the end of the story. That's not the end of the story. Even when before the separation, you weren't driving, and then when he came back, you were driving. You had your own place, and you were even looking after adults. You know, so it's such a successful story, and we are really grateful for who you are and what you stand for. That you have a tangible story to tell us. You're not just grabbing stories from anywhere. You have lived it, and you're showing us that it is possible to have life after anything that the society think is a tragedy. So Dr. Eno was answering a question that Ambassador Obinna had posted. Number one of the question was, can someone be a good Christian yet not a good spouse? Dr. Eno, you had started when Pastor Jessica's line got disconnected. And then when she came back, she continued what she was saying. So you can continue with that. And you also posted that you have a comment. So you can continue with that for us, please.
Okay, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. What I had started saying was, being a Christian, being a pastor, being in the church doesn't prevent us from being human. I had mentioned that if being a Christian made us perfect, then you wouldn't see the priest in church abusing kids. Besides that, Judas was one of the 12, the closest to Jesus. Because we are human, we are fallible. So you cannot just draw the conclusion that because this person is a Christian, a born again Christian, whatever religion they're from, that they're perfect. We are not perfect. So I hope I answered that to you. That's all I have to say about that. We are human. We are not perfect. Please, what was the second question?
So I'm gonna let There
was a second part of that question.
Yeah, true. Okay. Since God hates divorce, what will a Christian in a wrong marriage do to be fulfilled?
Instead of staying in and being miserable and actually offending God by staying in, the typical example is the woman at the well. She was human. She had all these husbands. I'd rather have them divorced than stay and offend God in that marriage. This is why it's very, very important for us to think through and pray before we say, I do. Have God direct you. If God directs you by his grace, he will give you a man or a woman that you can live peacefully together. But when we go on our own to pick for whatever reason we are drawn to this person, then we get into trouble.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your comment. Pastor Jessica, can you please treat the, would you want to say anything about this? I saw Immaculata raise her hand.
Okay. What I wanted to, if I have to add anything, yes, what I need to say is that, number one, I said it earlier, everybody is a raw material. There's nobody, God doesn't make your husband, your wife for you, but he gives you raw material, just like you, that when you couple it together, it becomes what you want, or the person that will help you to fulfill your destiny. So because you marry somebody in the church doesn't make the person perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So when you marry somebody in the church, it has the component that when you cultivate it, like a mango seed has a mango tree, ability to become mango tree. A guava seed cannot become mango tree. So you marry a Christian in the church, it has the ability and what it takes to become what you want based on your Christian faith. But if you go to marry outside there, it might not have the raw material. You cultivate it, it might bring forth another fruit altogether. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
So when you marry him or her in a church, begin to cultivate her. She will bring forth those things that you require, which is the fruit of the Spirit. But unregenerated soul may not bring forth those things because it is not in her. But then the answer to your question is yes, he has the raw material. You will have to work it out. She will work you out. And two of you will work each other out with the help of God. Before 5, 6 years, the tree will come out and you'll be a happy man ever after. So it's all to cultivate, work out, work it out, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. You have to work it out. Listening to her, sacrificing for her if you're a man, submitting to him if you're a woman, listening and communicating, being able to manage your temperances, recognizing each other's difference, recognizing the differences, and they come to the middle to manage it well. That person can be the best, even better than you, when given opportunity. God bless.
Thank you very much for the point made. Sister Immaculata, I saw your hand up. Do you want to add to it?
Yes. I think this, I'll use this opportunity and add my own contribution on top of the answer to the question. Who are you as a Christian, as a married person? Have you found yourself? If you have not found yourself and you go to church, miracle doesn't happen in the church. You are who you are, and you bring to any relationship what you are. Your relationship is as good as who you are. If you are married in the church and you are a lazy person, they are leaving the church with a lazy person. Miracle doesn't happen in the church. That's the essence of finding yourself. That's what singleness is all about. Finding yourself first before you marry. Self-knowledge, self-discovery. It's unfortunate that our culture doesn't encourage us to know more about interrelationship, interpersonal relationship. We focus more on interpersonal relationship, and that's the foundation, the root problems, the cause of the problems in our marriages. Because we grow up not loving ourselves. And you can't give what you don't have. When you don't know yourself, you don't appreciate yourself, you don't value yourself, you don't understand yourself, how then can you share what you don't have? That's a problem. So as mothers, as unmarried or married, we need to change that in our various families by teaching our children to begin to love themselves. To begin to love themselves and appreciate themselves. So when they grow, they will not depart from what they have been seeing you. You are a role model to them. So we need to change that from our various families. With the knowledge we are sharing, it's not just for us grown-ups. We need to bring them closer, teach them to love themselves. And then as individuals, whether unmarried or married, we need to work on ourselves. We need to add value to our lives. And we actually need to go back to the source of authority. I keep saying that. We can't talk about marriage without bringing in God. It's the institution he established. And we keep going to unauthorized dealers for solution. It's only the manufacturer that knows his products. Yeah. You have, when we buy a new product, we have manual, and we tend not to read it. And we don't know the product when it has problem. And besides, they tell you if the product develops any fault, bring it back. Because the name of the manufacturer is at stake. When we have problems in marriage, we don't go to the right source. We keep looking for solutions from other dealers, and you can't find the solution there. That's why we keep having problems. We don't look for solutions where we are supposed to look for solutions. You get married in the church. When you have problems, you go to the courts. Isn't that ironical? You can't get the solution if you are looking for there. That's why when you leave the courtroom, you are worse than. Divorce is not the solution. Divorce is man-made. It was invented by Moses, not God. So think before you enter, because when you enter, divorce is not the solution. It's even worse. It's even worse when you separate, when you divorce, you divorce. Some people don't really understand what people go through when they pass through divorce. Malachi 2:16 for Christians. God hates divorce. You don't, that route is not, don't even think about it. Before you enter into any relationship, as a married, reflect, sit down, don't rush into it, because some people are stuck. They don't know how to get out. Don't rush into what, think this is a good time for you to work on yourself. To work on yourself. It is traumatizing to have a divorce. It's not something you would like to experience. It may sound easy, they give you a piece of paper, but the emotional trauma is unbearable. And according to the Bible, it's only Jesus that can give you the solution. Binding of a broken heart is not an experience you will wish for yourself. So think. Most times when we are going into a relationship, we don't ask the right question. Ask yourself, is this person the person I would want to spend probably 90 years, 100 years with? If you can answer that question, going in with the knowledge that you are not coming out, no matter what you see there, you will not come out. It's like riding a bicycle. For you to maintain your balance, you have to keep riding. Don't have that at the back of your mind that you will come out. No.
Thank you.
What are your principles? Stick by the principles. And what is principle? Principles are foundational laws by which and on which things stand. What are your standards? Do you have a character? Can people follow you? Can they trust you? Are you consistent with your words? Are your words, deeds, and action one? No, most times we go about looking for people to love us. That's a sign of not having self-love. When you work on yourself, good things will follow you. Just like the CEO said, they couldn't ignore her. Work on yourself is what you have, you bring into the marriage that will keep your home, that will make your home. Singleness is time for you to find yourself, build yourself. Marriage is all about two whole people coming together, not incomplete, not half. If I'm whole and marry a half person, I'm in trouble because I will end up babysitting. Yeah, work on yourself so that by the time the person finds you, you are whole. You can stay. You can stay on your own and be single. You are not there depending and relying on him. That's why when there is shaky, you feel like, oh, I can't leave. Some people, they commit suicide. They don't love themselves. If you love yourself, you will enjoy yourself. You will not do harm to yourself. Your self-esteem will be so high. So we really need to work on ourselves. Think before you enter. Loose goat does not know what tied goat goes through. So don't jump into marriage. Marriage is not the solution for love. And love alone doesn't keep marriage. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow, that's a wonderful contribution. So to add on to that, there are situations where a divorce that the woman will have to decide, or the man will have to decide, is this working or not? An example is Reverend Joyce Meyer. In her case, her father was abusing her as a child, like sleeping with her. When you listen to her preachings, she said every single time, the father, not for 1 year, not for 2 years, for so many years. And the mother knew about it. And when she grew up, she asked her mother, why didn't you do anything about it? And what the mother said was that, I was scared that if I left this marriage, I was not going to be able to look after you and your brother. So sometimes you have to make a decision as to, is this helping me or not? And make that decision and be bold that you will be able to survive out there. So this woman enjoyed the comfort of the home of this abusive husband, who was an alcoholic, who beat them up, who slept with his own daughter and did all these things. But the wife was not bold enough to say that, do you know what? There's nothing, it doesn't matter whether she was a Christian or not. God is saying that God hates divorce. So I think it depends on the situation. As an individual, you will have to decide and know that in this case, I've done everything possible. There is nothing that I can do about this. I'm out. So that, because I realized that sometimes too, some people know that this is not helping, but they find it hard to leave. So we have to also draw that two different lines where you're not just getting out, because I think that's what Kileta is saying, that you're not just getting out just because it's irreconcilable differences. That's what they term it when people just want to leave. They've done nothing. They've not gone for counseling. They haven't changed their communication patterns. They haven't changed anything. They just want to get out. And there's also the situation where Dr. Eno also mentioned that you have to, if it comes to that point, you can actually also step out. So just so that's what I'm thinking, so that if somebody is on this line or listening to us on YouTube, knowing that there's a situation that this is wrong, you're not saying that, well, God hates divorce, so I'm scared to offend God and I cannot step out. So we have to also draw that balance, that you don't just step out just because things are not going well, or you don't just stay in because you're scared that you're going to offend God. So you have to know that there's a balance. You, the person going through the situation, will be the best judge to determine, is this helping or not? So I just wanted to add to that. So Pastor Jessica, if you want to, before we go ahead, Ambassador Obina sent me a message and said that he had to leave because of a medical emergency. And I asked her, is it okay to let you guys know? So he's not on here with us, but he had to leave. But anyway, so Pastor Jessica, if you have anything more to say, I see Father Jerry also on the line.
Yeah, before I say anything, I think Joyce,
Yes.
Ejiogu. Yes.
Yes.
Do you have anything to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Please take the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Actually, it has been a wonderful topic, and I appreciate that you are open, CEO, to give us a talk on this with your own personal view and your experiences. From my own point of view, to contribute on this, If I start, I think I will have to replicate all that you said, because it's a practical life example from my own side. But I have to just round it up because of time. And what I want to aim at is to let people know, the people viewing us today, that it is very possible for somebody to find love, true love again, as a single mother. Today that we are dealing with how to find, in my own perspective, I will use that that power of discovery, discovering who you are, as the main thing, because to find, for me, we not define who you are, but to discover who you are, we make you to find that true love. How do you discover what true love is? This is where we have problems, because of the experiences, the bad experiences you had, is very difficult for you to fall in love again, or to give yourself free to love. And this has happened that many people, for them as a single mother, they don't believe in true love again, and they keep on just holding on with anybody that they see that meet their personal need at a particular time, which is very wrong. It is true that you pass through experiences that you cannot, you couldn't have. It was not your making, or it was out of mistake or agreement to do that. But I want to assure you, it's not that you are guilty or you are being condemned for being a single mother. Nobody is to be condemned, because it is something that you did not will for. You did not plan this. Now, to discover that you can be in love again is that you have to know, just like the CEO said, who you are and what are your capabilities. My own side is that I know that I married based on the fact that the man that wanted to marry me knew my family very well, knew my background, knew my Christian level, knew everything. And that was the assurance that made that marriage to go on. When this could not progress, the same, it was never the same reason that I had another person in my life. I was already a German that married a German. I had my own car. The man that married me had his own car. I lived in my own house. A white man that married me moved into my own house. So it is the time I discovered who I am, that made this second person to love who I am, to want to know more about who I am, that respected who I am. You know, that is, there is, you see the difference there. The first wants to make me who I should be, because I was like from a balanced body, a ground that nobody, yeah, okay. And this is the person that was picking me and reminding me every day, I picked you to make you. And the second person was the one that said, I just want to share. I want to share this life in you. I want to share. I want to be a part of this life in you. So you see that being a single, the same thing that CEO was narrating, just as she was carrying that baby in her hand, was the way I was carrying my baby in my hand when I was releasing my first album. And it didn't stop me anywhere. My car, I dedicated it to the Lord for people. When my husband came into my life that time, he told me I will not stop you. I had 7 seaters, single mother. I had 7 seaters car just because I was carrying people. It's something that it brings joy inside you to help. And then my house was open for anyone, everyone. I wouldn't count where will I get this to do this? No, it will just be part of me. But this is what this man saw in me and said, no, I'm not going to stop you. But you see that separation and all these things that happen come out of different reasons. All is not because you did not watch it, you did not pray it, you did not believe it. There are little things that could, and even the place you are could be part of that to force marriages not to stand. I'm telling you, the country we live is even worse in this kind of, you can count that. And I'm not here to narrate how it affects the culture of this place affects the marriages. But then I want to let you know that what exactly the CEO was talking about, being who you are, finding out who you are and what you can do, it helps. Because when I married and when in the court marriage, people even confess that they came to find out if I was just marrying this man to make my status balanced. They were shocked when they said a German was marrying a German. Could you believe this? This is what the idea we are having. I must marry to have this. I must marry to get this, to have my finances straightened and this and this and this and that. It's not so. Another thing is that there are essentials in marriage. These essentials are very necessary. I said I am in love because right now, somebody in my life, but nobody will know that this girl, this woman that is talking has gone through all these, and God still preserved me for a purpose. Essentials in marriage that will help us, that add salt to it, that add pepper to it, that add, that sweetness in marriage. I just termed it in just 3 A's. Number 1 is the apology. Number 2, appreciation. And number 3, acceptance. If we miss these 3 words in our marriage, there's nothing, even if you're the priest, even if you are the bishop, reverend doctor, whoever you think you are, it will not work. Being able to accept your own fault and to apologize, appreciate, praise one another without sarcasm, being sarcastic or making a joke out of that person. When I tell you my faults, when I tell you my shortcomings, when I tell you my bad stories or my past experiences, you use it on me every day because it's a weapon to make me feel inferior. It will not work in marriage. Learn to appreciate one another, praise one another. And these things is physical, because just like CEO and even all the contributors have been saying it, that marriage is just a resemblance to God's own image, God's own purpose in our life. It's just what we do with God. So this should be also in our marriages. And acceptance. If I say I come from Nigeria, please accept it. I can't change it. I was working in the children's service today, and I had to lead them to draw Abraham and Isaac for the sacrifice. and they were asking, we want the color of the skin, color of a pencil that is for color of the skin. And I was giving the light brown. They said, no. They want this milky light, creamy color. And I looked at my colleague and laughed and said, these children don't even know that. Then there was this mixed child that was there. She didn't even ask me. She just used light brown and colored the whole thing and said, look at my drawing. I said, wow. Then I looked at my colleague, I said, you see the difference? She knows already that there is a color of skin that is like that. And the other people, I was trying to explain to them, we don't have that light cream color pencil. Please use light brown. They said, no! Because they don't know that Abraham was not even like a German. so it's just by the way, there are things that we experience in life, we need to know, accept who we are, accept the type of food we eat, accept the type of language we speak. Love me that way I am, and I will love you the way you are. You will never see me criticizing any particular sector because of who they are. I don't cherish it because I might find my loved one in that area. I worked in Lagos in an Oduduwa company. They changed my name from Joyce to Ayomi. I did not object because that's what they will call me to feel good for me. I accepted it. And I love them the way they are. But there are people that will never allow anybody from another tribe cross their way. It's not going to work in marriage. So this is all I have to stop here because
We've
actually,
got 6 minutes left.
Yeah. So I really want to appreciate this period and this time. And I hope that somebody out there is getting something to take home, that you can find your true love again. And remember, love, the basic of love is based on what Jesus did for us. So if Jesus is in your heart, he will open your heart in the right way and click you to the person that has the same aim, the same will, the same vision, the same hope with you. And this is where the marriage will work. Thank you.
We've got 5 more minutes now. I see Father Jerry on here. So Father Jerry, we only have 5 minutes. I'm sorry. But if you can give
a quick one. Okay. I've really enjoyed the conversation. I was invited because of the topic, but I want to say just this word. Marriage and love discovery. I want to emphasize on being vulnerable. The courage to be vulnerable makes you discover yourself. Some people are afraid to be vulnerable. You spoke so well about being a strong woman, but Jesus will say, be simple as a dove, but wise as a serpent. Tough-minded, simple, tender-hearted. You can be tough woman, strong woman, but don't let the tenderness go away. Jesus told Peter, one day will come, no matter how strong you are, they'll pull you to where you don't want to go. He said this after asking Peter 3 times, do you love me? Those who determine to go into marriage must ask themselves, are they ready to be vulnerable? Be vulnerable to those you love. It's only those who love who are vulnerable, and those who are vulnerable are able to love from their heart. So this is what I want to end with, these few things I have learned from the discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your contribution. Thanks a lot. Pastor Jessica, we have like 3 minutes. So
yes, honestly, I'm overwhelmed. Today we were actually treating the topic for single parent who has eventually separated or divorced, that the line or the door is not closed on you, there is also light at the end of the tunnel. Even though we bring different suggestions, but today was meant for those who has already either separated or divorced. Can they still have hope? Yes. We said you can find love again.
Yep.
But yes, that's what we treated today. So for us to know. However, in terms of people who are already married, how to sustain your marriages, how to be there, how to stick by, we'll also take that next time. So things like the ones, I think, what's her name? Immaculata can elaborate that time with what she has taught us today. I want to especially appreciate Reverend Father, appreciate you, Grace, appreciate Dr. Eno, appreciate all our trustees here, Immaculata, Sister Joyce, and every one of you, even Obinna, Pastor Obinna, who has left because of emergency, everyone on board, Auntie Anne, Anoro, Sister Justina, all of you. I may not see your name now, but I appreciate all of you and thank you for staying put. And I would like to, Reverend Father, to close today's meeting for us. It's just a privilege to have you. Once again, I'm grateful. See you next week. We'll bring a similar topic, maybe part 2 of it, because I see that a lot of people has a lot to say, but eventually time is no longer on our side. God bless you and have a lovely week ahead. Please, over to Reverend Father Jerry, just to give us a benediction.
Okay, then. So
Yeah.
we commit our night into God's
And
hand.
sorry, before before Reverend goes on,
Okay.
Grace is from Ghana, you know.
Yes.
And I think he's speaking from Ghana now.
No, I'm in the UK.
Oh, you're back in UK.
Yes.
All right, sir.
Okay, then.
So
So
Grace,
let's
catch
pray.
up with him.
Okay. So, since today is a Sunday, we have celebrated the mystery of the Lord's resurrection. We ask the good Lord to free us from all harm, that we may sleep in peace and rise in joy to sing his praises at the dawn of a new day. May he restore our strength, that at the new day he'll give us new opportunities. May he grant us a quiet night and a perfect end. May his name be praised now and forever. Amen.
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 Thank you so much,
Amen.
Reverend Father. Thank you.
Thank
CEO.
you all.
Thank you,
Thank you for
everybody.
accepting me
Thank
and my
you,
daughter the
Father.
way we are.
Welcome.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you,
We love
everybody.
you, CEO.
Welcome.
God bless
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Good
Bye,
night.
Grace. Bye,
Good
God.
night.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good
Immaculata.
Yeah,
night.
bye, Joyce.
Bye.
Thank you, Margaret.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Yeah.
What's the day
Bye. Sister Grace,
Don't
don't forget to give me the address to send the books to for
Oh,
the launchers.
yeah, that. Sorry, I'll do
I
that.
will say it live here.
Yeah, I know. All right. Bye, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Kachifono.
Kachifo.
Dr. Eno, I think you're the host now, so you'll have to end the meeting.
Oh, end the meeting.
Yeah.